What's going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your creative unconscious reading for April 30th. This is for my creative collective. Happy solar eclipse and Taurus new moon day, friends. This is very exciting. So let's dive right in, shall we? As I fumble with the deck. So I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space. And I ask that it is a safe and brave space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. Okay, right on. Let's do this. Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative unconscious, my creative collective here? Oh, you want this here. Okay, that's a lot. But it's worth it, I just heard. So we have the Queen of Cups here. Something that you're feeling or something to... I just got this image of like an emotion being pretty poisonous for you right now. And not poisonous as in like... it's like gonna like take you out or anything. It's just there's something low vibe. Like it's almost like you're sipping on some Kool-Aid that isn't really in your best interest. In your best interest. And then this is the this is the Ten of Wands here. And yeah, it's like it's almost like there's just this weight. We'll see. So we had the Ten of Wands, and we had, in this deck, serpents are pentacles. So this is the Eight of Pentacles. And then this is the Nine of Wands. I think I get the impression that there's something that's taken a really long time, and it's almost like you're just like, it's like you need Gatorade, but like you're giving yourself something that's actually depleting your energy levels. And I don't even know how to word what I'm trying. Like the way I feel it is like after a run, I take electrolytes to replenish any minerals that were depleted from my body and system as I went for the run, right? And it's almost like after I do that so that it doesn't, harm gut bacteria and all of that stuff. But like, I almost get that there's this thing that you're trying to get connected with internally like that. And it's really just escaping you. Like there's something that's escaping you. But it's like, you need to understand that you can put down that particular cup, like those particular beliefs, right? And then we have the Fool here. The Fool. This deck's a little shiny. The Fool. And then we also have the Page of Cups, which is beautiful energy. I mean, in this particular shadow deck, it tends to bring out, more reversal energy, but I read intuitively. So, when it comes to the Fool, I get this impression of like taking a leap, but there's so many voices around you that are telling you it's like the worst idea ever. Like there's something about voices trying to get in your head. And I think it's because the only way that they can really get in your head is because of this particular belief that you're carrying, this belief about intimacy I'm hearing. Interesting. And then the Page of Cups is here. This is really interesting to me. So I saw the necklace that this particular character has, and what I thought of was the scapular that, as part of, being, I guess, like baptized into Catholicism and all of that stuff, you are, scapulars are worn by, it's like an extreme, and maybe not extreme in a negative sense for the folks who choose that, but it's like intense devotion where you wear this scapular as a reminder of your connection to your patron saint. So it's almost like there's something that you were devoted to that you're just giving up on, and not like devoted like, oh, I liked that. It was like something that you gave your whole self to, and you're taking a leap almost away from it. But I get the impression that there's beliefs that you're holding that are holding you back. Beliefs you're holding that are holding you back. Very interesting. This could be, when it comes to creative projects too, this can just be related to you. I want to say finding yourself in a position of taking on a new project or getting a new opportunity or having a new opportunity present itself. And you can talk yourself out of this, right? You can talk yourself out of this very easily, very easily. Because what you're confusing, I'm just getting this now. So it's the 9 and 10 of Wands. So it's like the work that you're confusing. This is 8 of Pentacles. You're confusing for work what is actually just the burden of carrying this stuff. So it's almost like there's this confusion happening, this misaligned energy that's getting twisted around. So it's really hard for you to understand and see what's what. But I think that there's a fundament. It would not shock me if the high priestess came out here. There's something that you're fundamentally aware of about this energy, my creative collective. And you really are leaning into it. Let me just do this here. You really are leaning into it. And I think this page energy here is you being very devoted to this. I'm hearing solving a problem. Like there was something about this, like you're in problem solving mode. Sometimes that can strike you as fulfillment, even if it's not. Like I can speak from experience, right? Like it's like busy work for your spirit when you really need to be doing something else related to, like, if you find yourself on a spiritual path or in a particular mission, like that's the work. And like doing shadow work, like that's the work. But it's like getting distracted by this busy work, almost the busy work in the everyday. Queen of Swords. Yeah, I get the impression that you felt like truth and clarity were just outside your reach. Like you could see it, but you weren't really grasping it, because if you grasp it, then it means it's almost Two of Swords vibes here. It's almost like if you grasped it, then it would mean that you would need to actually do something that was, I don't think it's like well beyond your comfort zone, but I just get the impression that this is like beyond what you're used to, right? And it's like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't, which is not true at all. It is not true at all. So I think the way through is this is like, how do we get through this? I think that you need to grab onto those swords of truth. And if you notice too, the blades are not, that sharp. I don't know if you can see this here. Let me see if it'll focus. Maybe. Like the blades are not sharp swords for fighting. Like they're not cleave. They don't have that sort of sharp end. They're definitely pointed, but they're more, I almost get this impression of them being more fencing based. Like for fencing as opposed to actual swordsmanship or swordspersonship, I should say, for fighting stuff. And then we have the Lovers here. Very interesting. So we have the Lovers, where this is, in this particular position for this shadow work spread, it's like, where are we pulling help or strength from? And I think this is like seeing all sides of the choice in front of you. The moon, it's interesting because we have the Fool here where you're taking this leap, and then we have the moon. So we have the moon and the Fool, and then we also have the moon in this card, and it's shedding a bit of a tear. And it's almost like there's a choice that there was like, I'm getting that there's this lack of clarity that was clouding your vision. And I think the thing to draw strength from is the clarity that you can now apply to it. I just wanted to clarify it, and I got the Page of Swords, which is very cute. Forgive me for any wheezing that might happen. I did a 3K run yesterday, and then I did another one today before weights, and my asthma has been a little bit funny because it's breezy and it's spring, so the trees are in bloom, and so is my lungs. But anyways, so the Page of Swords, I think this is it's almost like I'm hearing like this is how you might feel. Like I'm hearing imposter syndrome a little bit. And that could be where this like lack of clarity was coming from, because you couldn't see yourself very clearly because you're carrying all of these outdated, interesting, like no longer relevant beliefs into this situation. So taking this leap, it's like all you could listen to was the voices of other people. And you were almost like, ugh, no, I'm not taking that. I'm not accepting that offer. And I feel like there's something about this where Spirit is saying like, stand in your place of clarity, give yourself some rest, as opposed to approaching the situation from a place of being burdened and overburdened. Like, 10 of Wands, 8 of Pentacles, 9 of Wands is like, that's heavy stuff. That's not like, I'll take the bread into the house from doing groceries. No, that's like somebody asking you to carry like 3 or 4 flats of water or something like that. Like if you drink bottled water, like I was thinking about the jugs, like I carry in 4 of the 4-liter bottles, and that's heavy, right? That's super heavy. So like imagine carrying that around just casually every day, where you just have to always carry this weight with you. And it's like, that's sort of what it was like. But this is you sort of charting a new course and telling a new story, because this is like inner strength to me in a way, because it's like the Queen is now wielding this clarity. And I think the choice that's presented to you here is to go forward. To go forward, I'm hearing in a way where your thoughts and actions are in alignment, right? You've put down the burdens, and this is more striking me as boundaries that you're carrying with you. You're carrying these boundaries with you, and that is helping you to really get into that place of, I'm hearing active manifesting, whatever that means, active manifesting. Very interesting. Okay, so I'm going to pull from the traditional Rider-Waite here to clarify. Spirit, can I get some messages for my creative collective regarding this reading here? I'm just hearing the question, did you know you were worth it? Did you know you were worth it? Fascinating. Okay, let's dive into this here. But I see like there's so much healing. There's healing, and it's very subtle. Like it's a subtle thing, but I think that what you may be needing to do right now is understanding the ways that you would empty your own cup. Like there would be offers coming in, and it would be to fill your cup, but you would empty it before it could even be filled because you were taking all of these leaps and you were just never really clearing the energy of the voices around you. So it's like you were carrying them into every cup. And that's where like, even as the queen, what you were given became like a poison, right? 11:11 on the time. So I think this is like healing in service to some kind of like, obviously to a bigger spiritual journey that you're on. But when I see 11:11, I think of twin flame journeys. So let me see here. Seven of Cups, strength. There it is. I was like, oh, I feel the strength card on the Queen of Swords. Seven of Cups. We see the strength card here as well. I almost feel like you've been ignoring that you know more than you do, right? It's like you're stepping into this place, and these are all options that you're able to present to a situation or to a project or to even a relationship. Like if there's an issue that you're facing, or, you know, like even to dating, like if you feel like a neophyte at dating, right? It just, you're like, I'm still new at this, like, or something along those lines. Like there's a way that you know more than you think you do. You know more than you think you do, which can be really challenging to overcome, because if you're used to not, like if you're used to people not sharing information with you and whatnot, and then you like open up to different gifts you have or whatnot, then you're like, oh, I actually am more aware. Like it can feel like a little bit of like a, oh, I did, right? Even though you had no idea at that time. 1, 2, 3, 4 was on the time. I'm getting this impression of you feeling conflicted about something. Feeling conflicted about whether it's worth, whether this particular opportunity is going to be worth it. There's a part of me that like, so I'm feeling that if you, like, I'm seeing the Tower here too. It's like there's something that if you don't do, if you're not doing it, Justice is out here too. Yeah. If you stay out of balance, I feel like this is going to bring in Tower moments for you, a chunk. And you know, Tower moments can just be like internal ahas, but more like an aha moment that makes you hold the holy shit bar in a car. Like, you know, but I think the Justice is here. Like this is sort of, to me, this is the external manifestation of internal conflict. The Justice card can also be like your inner critic, your inner voice, right? Like how do you stand by decisions? So this is kind of saying, don't be, I'm hearing, don't be wishy-washy. I don't know the origins of that phrase, so I have to look that up. I'm going to write that down actually so that I do it, because I want to make this channel as accessible to everybody as possible. And I would like to know the background of these phrases when they come up. It's kind of my thing. I'm a Gemini rising, so just we'll leave it at that. But not to be, don't be half-hearted. Be authentic in your decision making. Stand true to yourself. Yeah, so this is really about you. So I think it's almost like you empty out the poison that you've been drinking, that you've been giving yourself, and you allow yourself to step into this place of being celebrated by others and trusting again. This is, I'm getting a lot of trust on this. Like there's a lot of things that you're beginning to trust about yourself, about situations again. And look at that. Oh my gosh, that's on the split. Ace of Pentacles and the Lovers. In this particular way, I'm getting that this is what's going to bring in, this is what's going to bring in love. This is what's going to bring in love romantically, a love for what you do. It's almost like this is like the real deal. I'm hearing the real deal in terms of what is important to you, right? An ace of cups is one thing, but an ace of pentacles with the lovers is like, this is somebody who's in it not just for the long haul, but who's interested in making an offer that that is I'm hearing going to be of interest to you, but also, this is someone that is going to be, this is an opportunity too, that is going to bring out the best in you, I think, as well. Yeah, I feel like this is going to bring out the best in you and has a real opportunity to do so. But the thing is that, the aces are opportunities to the extent that we let them in, right? That we see opportunities where they are, and we see opportunities as what they're for. And I think that energy is really important to remember, is like, we can get all the aces that we want, but yeah, if we can have a king of cups show up at our doorstep. But if we're in this Eight of Swords, it doesn't mean anything because we're in that stuck energy. So I think this is a reminder. This is a reminder that you have the opportunity to be, holding a cup that isn't filled with something that is really harmful to you, right? This is that supportive energy. This is like seeing the universe as, the universe supplies what you need, right? And if it's not showing up in the way that you think, maybe, sometimes I've taken a look at things and said to myself, is this something I truly needed, or is this something I wanted? And was this going to be the best for me, right? This is where you get into that like rejection is protection idea, and I think that this here is like two ways of looking at the universe, two ways of looking at offers that come in specific to emotions. I think of this as more emotions because of the river that she's standing in, but it's like you can have this like embracing and like really, this, I'm hearing cosmic rinse, the King of Cups, but like, you can have this abundant view of emotions. And when you have this emotionally abundant view, then you have this, all these other kinds of abundance can find you. But if you're stuck in these thoughts of uncertainty and, these are lower vibrations for sure. And sometimes they protect us, like they do protect us, right? Like you're in a circle here, but you're also bound. And in a way, it makes it so that you can't really welcome in new opportunities or new situations or anything really. Like you're just stuck in the old. You're stuck in the old. And this Queen of Swords here is, this Queen of Swords energy is I think you stepping into, this is like you recognizing there's like some kind of, there's Ace of Swords on the bottom for sure. This is you recognizing your truth. 10 of Cups, what you actually want. The Wheel and the Fool. Oh my gosh. Okay. I can't keep looking at the bottom because I could go on. The Wheel and the Fool came out. This is your expanding. When you get this clarity, but first I'm hearing you have to give yourself the clarity. You have to give yourself the clarity. Sometimes you need to take space to get the bigger view, like the bigger take. And I'm not saying like, when people say I need space, it's not that they need space. In most cases, it's that they don't know what to do. And I just think that that's such I've experienced it before where when people say like we need space, it's not like it's a bogus reason to say this doesn't interest me right now, right? That's how it's often used. So when people say that, I have some issue with it because it's not about emotional intimacy and coming closer. It's about wanting to leave before you leave, if that makes any sense. But this here is like taking space in terms of perspective and pulling back, right? Pulling back for a second and taking the longer take, connecting with what is true for you about this. And inner, truths about this can just be, I'm hearing new opportunities to understand your truth. And maybe that's the reframing here, right? As seeing these situations, these burdens, these wands that you were carrying in the past as opportunities to learn what was most important to you. And that's forgiveness, right? That's what then brings in this 10 of Cups. That's what then brings in this fulfillment, because it's like it comes in a rush. Like I'm getting this like energy, like it all comes at you because you made the decision to forgive, so that it's like the dam bursts on your good, and then the wheel turns, and then you can actually step into this Fool energy freely. Right? The wheel turns, Jupiter expands, your philosophies on life shift, your fundamental beliefs about the world change because you started to forgive and you let that in and let that be your truth. You let that be your guiding light. And then you're able to step into this Fool energy. very clear. Oh, very clearly. Oh no. Of course I shuffled the deck like this. Oh my gosh. Spirit, can I get some clarification here on this step forward with this choice and Page of Swords? I'm hearing declarative, like there's something that you're going to have to say. There's something that you're going to have to say. And it could just be articulating a boundary with this shield here. Five of Cups on the bottom. It could also be like the ways that you were disappointed, but I feel like ultimately it's like a coming together. Like this is intimacy, right? This is intimacy. It is sharing stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable at times. It's going into the details, even when you're like, I don't want people to see me, right? Like, and it's not even that you do it consciously. It's just sometimes people seeing you is vulnerable making, and it is nerve-wracking because we don't often. It can be nerve-wracking because we get into these places where we fill our lives with superficial BS, right? And it's like, yeah, the moon. Yeah. A lot of it is like, well, what's the purpose of this? Like if we pull back, and I'm not saying do this and make everything like a thing, but it's just like, when's the last time that you like really felt joy, and like describe the joy that you feel when you're in specific places or around specific people, right? It's not about what did they do for me. It's about how do I experience joy, and how am I able to show up as my whole self, like my whole self with these people. And sometimes you reach a point, and I did that. This happened in my 20s, right? And then it changed a lot because I was asking myself, well, what am I like? Why are these people even here, right? Like they're not, it wasn't an easy place to be, right? To say the least. And it gets to be quite uncomfortable because then you're like, well, I'm doing this thing, and are we actually connecting? Like, what's the bigger thing here? What's the bigger thing? And not everything needs to have a purpose or a bigger thing. You can just be with people, but it's the way that you can be with people, right? It's that, judgment on the bottom, the transformative power of being with people that see you, because it makes celebrating things different. You can share your truths. If something happens that's uncomfortable, you can talk about it, and it doesn't get swept under the rug. Like it doesn't get swept under the rug and like go into this unconscious place. Resentment doesn't build up, and like your friendships can be like that. Your relationships should be like that. I mean, I don't want to should on you, but like there's also a certain degree of that needs to exist in healthy relationships of all kinds. So this Lovers and Page of Swords, Spirit, can you clarify Emperor? I feel like this is you stepping into your power, you badass. And then the Empress is here too. Of course you'd find your counterpart through this. This could be you, these two different energies coming together within you. But I feel like there's an element of this that's like finding this within yourself transforms the situation, number one, but it also puts you back in your power. And I think that there are people who find that quite attractive, right? Like this is how you think you're showing up in the world, is this like wee little page, so cute, right? Like adorable. Look at that little helmet. But then what you don't realize is that this is how you're actually showing up in the world, because you're speaking your truth. This is, there's that quote, like speak your truth even if your voice shakes. I can't remember who it's by, but this, like, honestly, this, you may feel like this is how you're speaking your truth, but to everyone else, this is how you're speaking your truth. And I think that where you may have felt like there was a choice to make, or this is very relationship oriented. So it could have even been like people you were working with or things like that. Like it doesn't have to be romantic, but I feel like there's somebody that you're finding on the path that is a genuine counterpart. Like there's no like tears in the background that you can't see that you will cry, right? About this. This is like the real deal, showing up at your doorstep, authentically present, and wanting something with you, wanting to proceed on a project, on a job, wanting that, not saying, well, I have to do it because I need to pay the bills. I need to do this. I don't actually want to do this, but I guess I need to, right? Like this is somebody showing up from a place of desire, from a place of knowing what the F they want. And especially in the areas of relationship, what a difference that makes. What a difference. Because this is two people who are saying, and for my polyamorous friends, that this is multiples, right? I want to be respectful of that. This is like a polycule, let's say. A polycule, but like this, and if like me, if like me, you're monogamous, this is counterparts, right? So I'm trying to figure out ways to say this in a very inclusive way. So forgive me if I'm fumbling, but like, this is energy of someone understanding what they want, and not being afraid to articulate boundaries and to say, this is what I expect and this is what I hope for. This is what I, in terms of even conflict, right? Like, and even things that get, like, this is how, like, this is what it's okay to talk to. I think about friends and stuff like that, because for me, one of my pet peeves is when people are in a relationship, and then instead of talking to their person about issues that they have, someone will talk to their friends, and like only their friends. And I'm not like, there's nothing to malign about that, because I think we need our support systems. That is very important. But it's almost like the village, as it were, finds out about the issue before the person that it's concerning has the issue. And that to me is like a real imbalance. So it's like, how do you articulate something like that, right? Like, how do you articulate something along those lines, right? Again, I'm not maligning friend groups. They're super important. Like, it's not that at all. It's more so like friends that only and exclusively complain about their partners, and you're like, wow, do you experience joy with them? Like, tell me about those times, right? And I know that sometimes it's a safe place to vent, but there's also that, like, to me, this comes to mind when I think about counterpart energy like this, where it's like, you want a relationship, yes, but we need to talk about boundaries and what makes me feel small, and what makes you feel big and small, like those types of things, where it's like, this makes me feel a deep sense of connection, this makes me feel X, Y, and Z thing. And feelings are changeable and mute, like they're not fixed, right? But it's understanding that there are specific conditions to intimacy. And people may be like, but that's not unconditional love. A lot of people don't understand what unconditional love is. And it's also just setting the stage for success in a relationship. And it's also understanding compatibility, right? Like, it's going to take time to get to know someone, number one. Number two, you can't just, you can't not articulate needs that you have in relationships. And I think this is the most powerful thing that you can do at the start of any relationship. It's also like, it doesn't get the sexy rap that other stuff does, right? Like, it doesn't get this like super, like, to me, emotional intimacy is like so attractive, but it's the work. Like, that's the work going into relationships, right? That's the work of, asking the awkward questions, right? Like, I've talked about this with some friends, where when dating, like, a lot of my friends are in relationships, but when dating, they would, they would be shocked when I would say, well, if I'm dating someone and I want to kiss them, I ask them, can I kiss you? Like, I don't just assume. And some of them would be quite put off by that. And they're like, that's so not romantic. And sometimes you can read a situation, yes, but then other times it's like, I don't want to just make that assumption. It's also to do with consent. That's a whole other thing. But it's just this, like, the things that aren't necessarily sexy, right? Like, intimacy is not always like hot, passionate fire, but it is the building block, and that's someone who knows what they want. This is my rant a little bit. This is a little bit of my rant. I made and never posted a tarot dad video because I just felt like it was very much like it was very there. But I thought, that's paternalistic, and who asked for a tarot dad anyway? Like, right? So, but to me, this is, excuse me, this is about you finding someone who's putting in the work with you, and who isn't, taking off when it gets tough. This is like a long-term relationship, and I'm really, really proud of this for you, because you're manifesting this, right? Like, this is just so beautiful to me. Like, you feel like you're showing up in the world. Like, you have no idea. You have no idea who you're inspiring. I mean, it's more wands energy, but to me, it's like, I think about the tarot readers on YouTube and the different spiritual teachers, and like, a ton of tarot readers will probably never know how much they've inspired me to do my thing by doing their thing first, right? Just how scary it can be to go onto YouTube and to put your face out there eventually, and, and to do this when, a lot of people have different opinions and all that stuff. And it's like, in the end, it's not that scary, but the lead up to it is like, you never know who you're inspiring. And I think about that relative to a lot of readers on YouTube. So that's my example. But for you, my creative unconscious collective, you don't know who you're inspiring. You have no idea. You have no clue. And this, so just an aside, this energy isn't just about finding a relationship to be in. This can be about a deepening of commitment of the one that you're in, right? This can be about finding something new that fires you both up, that you're both working towards, like in union towards. So, all right, let's pull some clarity here. Spirit, what is the other message? What are the other messages here you have for my creative unconscious collective for April 30th, please? Whoa. Balance. But this is also, I think, equal give and take. Equal give and take. And then that's like the Ace of Cups here. And then we have the Knight of Swords. And that to me is like things are moving forward. And then underneath that was the Ace of Wands. So now we have all 4 aces on the board. This is like new. It's almost like I don't know that you know how good it's going to get until you start to cut out all of this nonsense happening here in terms of beliefs about the way things used to be or the way things should happen or have happened. And, that's where you believe that that's how it will always happen, therefore. So let me pull some chakra cards here for you, my creative collective. Some chakra card spirit. Can I get some messages, some healing messages for this shadow work Saturday for my creative collective for April 30th, please? So we have the solar plexus. Yes, I feel like this is where you're starting to recognize what's actually yours, right? This is where we have the wands energy. And I feel like this solar plexus energy is you really beginning to understand what is yours to take ownership of and what is not, right? And that allows you to step into your power and to really shine your light. Grounding. Yes, that's exactly it. This grounding. So this is what is called for when it comes to this sort of up in the air energy and being up in the air yourself, right? This is you pouring out that cup as the page, and then stepping into your truth with the Queen of Swords here. So we have solar plexus. So you are free to be yourself. Your power is yours to keep. No excuses, no apologies. Banish fear and shine your light. You always have been. You always will be. You are. You belong. I think this is also about connecting to that eternalness of you as well, right? This is the strength card. We also see the little lion in here, right? So this eternal part of you, you're connecting to that truth as well, through this work that you're doing. It's almost like this strikes me as shadow work that is actively underway, but I don't know that you understand fully how good it's going to get. And it's not going to get good in like a, here today, gone tomorrow kind of way. Like it's going to get like life-changing good. And I just want you to know that. Because I think like with the number of aces, like the Fool card and the major arcana here too, like holy crap. Before I go on further, I'll just give you a rundown of the different signs here. I realize I didn't do that earlier. So we have Leo. We also have Libra in terms of planets and houses. So we have Leo in the 5th house, Libra, and the 7th house in Venus. We also have the Tower here, which is Mars energy, which is Aries in the 1st house. We also have the Lovers, which is Gemini, and Mercury, and the 3rd house. We also have the Wheel, which is Jupiter energy. That could also be associated with with Sagittarius, different S word. That sounds bad, but it's not. Sagittarian energy and the 9th house. And then we also have the Fool, which is Uranian energy. And then we have Aries and the Emperor here. So more 1st house energy. Empress is also Libra and Taurus come together. So there's a good chunk, but there's some repeats here, right? And, thinking about the signs thematically and what they represent with the houses, right? We also, we have Libra twice showing up as Venus. And I think this is coming together with the other signs here. This is like a transformative understanding of the confidence that you possess. And then Gemini is here going out into the world and communicating that with others. We have the Fool twice. That's a lot of Uranian energy. So this is almost like your sense of community and your sense of stability. And that's where this grounding comes in. I'll read this to you in a moment. But, if we were looking also at this, the Mars energy, we have like these two different types of, the Towers, Mars and Pluto a little bit together. But what I get from this here is that, this is more, what I'm seeing is that this is two sides of the transformation, right? Like this is as it happens, and then this is like who you become. Like as it happens, this is like in the past, this is past energy, but this is like who you've become. And I think that there needs to be an awareness of that for you. And it's almost like this Jupiter energy and the Fool here are showing up in this way to show you that there's a way that you're taking a leap forward, and it might feel new to you. There might be this, like, Uranian energy tends to be like in this Fool, and the way it can show up can be a bit on the innovative side. It can be a little bit innovative, and I think this might be an innovation for you. This is like an inward innovation of how you've seen yourself and believed yourself to be in the world. And I think that this initial past energy was really about you connecting to your sense of will, your sense of, I can, I will. Like, what is it that you believe about yourself that makes it possible for you to enact using confidence and to do things in the world, right? And that's where this grounding is, like, I feel like it's kind of an anchoring. So I'll read this to you. I am anchored into my physical existence and resonate in perfect harmony with the physical world. I am of the earth as I am of heaven. I root down and yield to the world around me. I connect with the life-giving energies of the earth and lovingly release lower vibrations to Gaia to be transformed. I am earthed. So there could be some, it might be in your best interest to, if you're in the northern hemisphere at least, going outside and starting to hike with the weather changing. I mean, not everywhere in the northern hemisphere is warming up, but some places are. So if you are in an area where things are warming up, as I am, and many tarot readers that I know are, and subsequently many people watching are, it's a good time to get out and just to feel the season. Abundance. Oh, I love this card on this particular clarification here. This abundance, this is like this is the stuff that I feel like you don't see coming until you start to really grasp your truth and be unafraid of wielding it. So abundance, I gather easily and effortlessly all that I need to support, nourish, and comfort me. I focus my attention upon all that I am grateful for. There is an abundance of nourishment, support, and love for me. So damn good. Oh, that's excellent energy. It's like, I feel like you don't know, you have no idea how good it's going to get. And it's not about like, oh, there's something outside of me, that this is like the work that you're doing with a not so great situation or memory or something. Like, there's some kind of shadow work that you're doing here that is of profound importance. Both of them? Okay. Unity and consciousness. Unity consciousness. Of course, why wouldn't it be there? This is really, I think, about you understanding the world as more connected than you realize, right? There's a lot of text. That's why I wanted to dive into A Course in Miracles on this channel in terms of creativity. Unity consciousness, it tends to be more Aaron Abke's thing. Like, literally, it's in his tagline. But I'll read this to you anyway. It's just beautiful because I feel like this is you being able to see from a higher perspective, third eye and crown chakra, to see from a higher perspective. And I think that's where this, this beautiful inspiration, love, your cup overflowing, instead of pouring it out or it being filled with something yucky, right? Like this here, it's like you're suddenly able to see, oh, I'm messing up my rose here. It's like, it's overflowing. And I feel like, things are moving really fast. I think things are going to pick up a whole lot. And if it was the Knight of Wands here with the Ace of Wands, I'd be like, yeah, you're in for some good times, my friend. But that's not what this is. This is not to say this isn't the case for this. But I think that I'm getting that there's like this emotional intimacy and passion together that you didn't maybe think was possible, which is really beautiful. And when, we're talking about, creative projects or work experiences or anything like that, this can just be the coming together of what you truly desire and feeling fulfilled, like you're on the right path. It's something that is inspiring. It's invigorating work for you, right? That's what that can be otherwise. It also means like this to me. So the Ace of Wands can mean a little bit of sexual passion as well. So to me, this is like lovemaking. Like, this isn't just like hit it and quit it. Ugh, I can't believe, I hate, ugh, that's so yucky. It's just yucky energy. But it's like that, this is like, how do you take your coffee tomorrow morning? That kind of energy, right? It's like, where do you want to go for breakfast? What kind of day do you want to have? Instead of saying, oh, I've got places to be. Sorry, I can't spend the day with you after, like that kind of idea. And that's where this like counterpart energy comes from here with this Empress and Emperor. This is really beautiful energy. So if you are looking for a relationship, or if you're doing work internally that you're, it's almost like you're healing your idea of what's possible. Like, again, like you might feel like this is how you're showing up in the world because you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. But really what you're doing is stepping into the world like this. And that was the tower transformation, that Mars energy, right? Transforming you into the freaking emperor, which is great. So unity. And again, this can be a coming together of energies within you, this emperor, empress, right? So unity. I see the unity and harmony within the polarities that I am experiencing and choose to align with the center point of balance, harmony, and love for one and all. I open to seeing with fresh eyes a more balanced perspective. The truth of this matter lies between the polarities within which I am resonating. And consciousness. I surrender the struggle of my ego and conditioning and allow guidance and knowledge to raise my consciousness. So let me say that again. I surrender the struggle of my ego and conditioning and allow guidance and knowledge to raise my consciousness. That's that moment where you put down this like 9 and 10 of wands, 8 of pentacles, and you're just like, ugh, something better has to be available, right? And not like available as in a person, but like available to you as a belief. So knowing that I am enough, I allow the unfolding of my inner magnificence and beauty. I practice stillness and emptiness, surrendering to higher consciousness in and around me. I am conscious. Yes. This is really fantastic. Creative collective. Oh, I'm such a squish for everybody. My little community building here. Yeah, this is really wonderful. This is really and truly wonderful. What else do we, yeah, the Miracles Now deck. Let's dive into that one. Spirit, can I get some messages from my creative collective, please, to close out this reading? There is always a solution of the highest good. Yes, there is. There is always a solution of the highest good. I feel like this is like you have to believe in that. I feel like you have to believe in that. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even realize I just put this on the grounding one. I just kind of put them wherever, but this was on the grounding one. And maybe that's the thing. Like, it's going to be grounding for you to remember that you don't have to think about the solution. You don't have to reach for the solution. One will find you, and it is of the highest good. And that's where it's beautiful going into this abundance part of the reading here. I release my need to be perfect, and I center into my commitment to serve the world more love. Yes, this is really fantastic. This is fantastic. Because it's like, this is almost like a surrender to the journey. And when you lean into that, it's just the Fool popping out here. This like beautiful, like, oh, whatever. I'm just doing it anyway, right? Feel the fear and do it anyway. It's like, I feel like you don't understand how much love you're actually putting into the world. My creative collective. And that could be what this Ace of Cups and Ace of Wands is. Like, I love seeing people in the middle of doing their thing, especially on YouTube. Like, you see, readers or speakers or teachers or whatever. They're just in their element, and they have no idea how inspiring that is for other people. You can see that they lose themselves in that for a moment. And it's so inspiring. It's so inspiring. It's so incredible to see, because it just like the earth moves when that happens, and we're all better for it. I am not the victim. I am the lighthouse. That is definitely this energy to me. Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups. I am not the victim. I am the lighthouse. Yes, you freaking are. Ugh, my creative collective, you're making me smile. That is your reading. That's your creative unconscious reading for this solar eclipse. I mean, in terms of transformation, spiritual path, and destiny points go, I feel like you're on the right track. We've ticked all of the possible bingo things. I think you have a row. I think you have a row somewhere on your card, Creative Collective. So I'm going to leave it here, but I hope you have a wonderful solar eclipse ahead of you. Thank you so much for watching up to this point. If this resonated, please like and subscribe. It helps me to grow the channel and to get found on YouTube, which is really helpful. So on that note, I hope you have a wonderful day. And if this is where we part, my dear Creative Collective, have a fabulous solar eclipse. Take care.